Welcome, guys, to the Real Football Talk. I'm your host, Hassan. I have Ruhel and Adil with me. We'll be discussing the Liverpool away performance against Wolverhampton, where they haven't lost since 1981. So, again, a great win for them again. Ruhel, first, I want to kind of straight away jump into the penalty decision. What did you make of it? And did you think it was a penalty?
Watching the game, I did think it was a penalty looking at it in real time. Once the replay came in play, yes, Alisson should have done better and he should have caught the ball, but obviously fumbled it. But at the same time, Semedo was running at him, and the ball was in the air, so they both misjudged the ball, and it looked like a coming together. If they gave that penalty, I think I don't know if it went to VAR because it's that quick, but I don't think that's a penalty personally. No.
Well, I mean, Jamie Carragher goes, it was a definite penalty. And
so regarding Jamie Carragher situation is, if it was the start of the season, maybe that would have been a penalty. But obviously, with the technology and people are saying, "Oh, is it a penalty? It's not a penalty." I think that would have been very, very harsh. I personally think that was not a penalty. But at the start of the season, with the laws that was put in place, I think that would have been given. But I think because it's so early in the game, I think even the referee thought, should I make a decision here? No, but looking at the replay, I don't think it's a penalty. No.
Are there anything to add on that? What was your view in terms of the decision?
I mean, I don't think it's a penalty, but in light of what the decision that happened yesterday, that you got to see what was asked the question: what is the actual rule now? Because I viewed the incident very similar to yesterday's incident. I didn't think yesterday's one was a penalty. I don't think this one is a penalty. But contact was made, and the ball wasn't in play with the player, with Semedo, very similar to yesterday's incident. I mean, like I said, lost the ball. There was contact, and it was given as a penalty.
But do you think that played a part into the decision then?
I think that's played a part in maybe Carragher saying why it should be a penalty. I don't think it's a penalty because no one had the ball. And it's just a footballing incident. I mean, both people coming into each other. But yesterday, that was given a penalty. I
meant in terms of the referee. Do you think that played into the referee?
No, I think the referee called it how he saw it. But now you got to ask, what is the actual rule? Because, referees are interpreting those incidents completely differently. So, it's just becoming a farce because that's the defining goal of a game yesterday. And that could have been a defining moment in today's game. So, as a football fan, it'd be good to have some clarity instead of, these ex-referees coming in and always backing the referee's decision. Give us some clarity on what the actual rule is, because both incidents are quite similar. And one was given a penalty and one wasn't. One VAR confirmed it. The other one, VAR didn't even look at it. So it's just becoming way too inconsistent, to the point where you're going to have fans start to become suspicious of VAR and the refereeing system and how how unbiased it is. You're going to start questioning it, because yesterday I felt a lot of the 50-50 decisions went Arsenal's way. And and just watching it as a not support of either team, so you're gonna start questioning what's the defining reason why one is given and the other one isn't. Is it the referee's favoritism, bias? Certain players carry more weight with others. You can't tell me referees don't have a better relationship with the England players, or players they've seen for years, over a foreign player who's just come first time. I'm starting to question it now, because it seems like there is no rule on anything, and it's just based on whatever referee is making up on a particular day. It's very uncomfortable with the way VAR has really changed the way.
I mean, the biggest question is in terms of the consistency is the problem, and that's why everyone in the footballing world is talking about is the consistency.
Yeah. But I think the law is the problem. What is the actual law on this?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the laws are very unclear and kind of left to the decision of the referee. Really,
you got situations. Hassan, you got situations where taking aside today's penalty incident, you saw the Wolves players, they didn't even react. They thought it wasn't a penalty. And even Liverpool players, I think Alisson was a little bit, have I given something away here? But even after a little while, it's like, okay, and they had to chat away. But you got situations like Phil Foden, for example, for Man City, where he was going on through and goal and he got fouled, but he stayed up on his feet and they didn't give a penalty because he was being honest. Sadio Mane, I think 3 weeks ago, when we're desperate for a win, he was through and goal and he was being honest, and he got, but he's trying to go and score, but he didn't drop down. Then when you got players like Salah and Bruno Fernandes and the elite players who with a little touch they're falling down because they're making referee make a decision because referee's not giving those decisions, so it's a bit difficult. But I think
the honesty is getting taken out. That's why it seems, because if a player's being honest and trying to play on to see if there's an advantage, it seems like they're not bringing it back, and that's causing the issues. Like a player with a little touch is going down, and that's why that problem's coming.
100%. VAR was brought into play regarding offside decisions and little handballs and certain areas. Yeah, but what they've taken VAR in perspective now. Everything has to be VAR. Or is there doubt there? Let's go and check it. Where the referee now maybe haven't got the kahunas maybe to make that decision. That, like, you know what, let's leave it to the VAR. Where before they made a decision, even if it was right or wrong, we had a talking point. We could discuss something, or if the referee made a mistake, etc. Because everyone makes mistakes. But with VAR, when it's clear and obvious, and they still don't make the decision, and when it's not obvious, they're like, okay, referee, you gonna make the decision. So where does it lie, Adil Bhai?
At the moment, where it lies is referees are making the rules as they go along, and VAR is just gonna back it. I mean, the Phil Foden one you mentioned, that's an absolute joke. When you look at the way they forensically look at the most minutest of touches, and then that one where a guy gets completely full, studs on his legs, and you can't give a penalty. I mean, that's an easy decision. So, I've said it on a previous show, the problem with VAR, and I'd like to see it change to the rugby system and NFL system, where the video adjudicator makes the decision. There's none of this rubbish about has to be clear and evidence to protect the referee. Forget the referee in this. It's about making the right decision. It's not about trying to justify the referees.
And like you previously mentioned, they're getting an external body to do it, because not getting ex-referees or, referees to do it, because
a farce.
Always back each other.
Even in the Champions League, there's some ridiculous ones. It's not making sense anymore.
Let's go back into the game, and Liverpool taking the lead. Fantastic play by Liverpool. Great one-touch football from Mane, Salah, and Jota. Really, they really created quite a few clear-cut chances. Liverpool. So did Wolverhampton. What did you make of Liverpool's approach and how they approached the game, really, and the chances they created, Ruel?
I felt it was quite an even game. Both teams were quite similar. In terms of they were both able to play to each other. They're both creating chances. There's a lot of tactical fouls which spoiled the flow of the game. Traore was constantly getting taken fouled. From that side.
This was clearly probably something they looked at.
Yeah, I just think both teams were quite similar. Totally different formations, different ways of causing each other problems. And the difference was the clinicalness of Liverpool. When Liverpool had a chance, they looked like they were going to score. And the players, you could see the belief that the players expect to score. Even when they didn't get on target, it's a proper header. It's whizzing past the post. It's not, floating to the keeper's hand. But you see with the Wolves players, there's no belief when they're taking that shot. You can just see it. It's a floater straight at Alisson or missing by Miles. You could just tell the difference was the clinicalness of the players, of the individual players on both sides. But systems-wise, they both caused each other problems. Both teams done two different ways. So it's interesting in that, and from a tactical standpoint, but pretty even game. From the way I looked at it.
What was your view, Ruhel? What did you think? What did you make?
I think that it was two teams that are very low in confidence. Two teams, trying to win a game, and they've just cancelled each other out. There was a lot of running in that midfield. You know, there's a lot of ball chasing. There's a lot of mispaced passes. There's a lot of rushing happening in that midfield. Regarding chances, I think, you know, like Adibal said, Wolves had a few decent chances. They could have got a few goals if they were clinical enough. At the same time, where Liverpool were missing chances, and you know, like the Mane header was a brilliant header, but if it was on target, I think it's a goal. But if it was off target, where Mane wanted to go around the goalkeeper, I think if he took it first time, and that's a player that's low in confidence. Another day, last season, Mane, or start of the season, Mane would hit that first time left foot or even side foot it into the bottom corner, and it would have been 1-0 up. So confidence is low.
I
And the goal,
encouraging though.
Yeah,
Mane's performance was encouraging. It's the first time he looked like he's getting back to some form. He's running at players, going past players, something he hasn't done all season.
He looked sharp. He looked really, really sharp. I think he was, you know, between him and Salah during the games, you know, if Salah was the end of where Mane was, the chances that he had around, I think Salah would have taken him because he's more clinical. But however, Mane gets involved in the game much more than Salah. Salah, you know, give him a sniff and, you know, he'll score that goal. But he's always, either he's in a game or he's not in a game, and the goal brings him into a game. But with Mane, yeah, he worked hard, he played well. There's a few times he could have passed the ball. He was a little bit selfish. But I think the fact that Liverpool's not scoring, the team is not been playing very well. I think everyone's just desperate to score. And however, the goal, realistically, it was really good play, but keeper was, you know, the keeping was awful. You know, the shot was okay by Jota.
Near post as well, yeah.
Yeah, near post, he got done near post, he got hand to it. And, you know, that's the luck that you need sometimes when you're not doing well, because even when you hit a ball cleanly, you're not scoring. When you hit one, hit one like that, it goes in. And, you know,
could it be a case of the keeper knowing Jota too well? I expect, because it seemed like he expected Jota to cut back onto his right, so he didn't move across.
He kind of mishit the ball, so
yeah,
sliced it, but it also seemed like he wasn't expecting him to even take the shot on his left.
I didn't expect him to take the shot, and I think what happened was by him taking that shot the first time, I think the keeper was like, "Hang on a minute," and by the time he got his hand to it, he wasn't.
It's too late. It's too late.
That's what I mean. Could it be that Rui Patricio knows Jota because they played so many years together that he's expecting him to do what he normally does, which is get it onto his right, and then so he didn't expect it first time?
Maybe.
I mean, we'll never know, but he
looked like he's hitting it to the far post. That's why.
Yeah, I thought he'll lace it through the side. Yeah. But at the end of the day, you know, the build-up play, the way where he went to Mane, gave it to Salah. Salah flicked it first time to Mane. Mane flicked it again to Jota, and the goal came. And, you know, it was a crucial time for the goal. You know, with all the chances that were missed by Wolves and Liverpool, it was a perfect time for Liverpool to go in with the goal. Because if they didn't, then they would have got a little bit more desperate in the second half, and they might have rushed a bit more. Where the second half it was a little bit more calmer. But yeah.
On the point, since we're talking about Jota, sorry, Adil. Since we're talking about how much of an influence or how much as a positive boost has it given that front line of Liverpool? Because obviously, all of a sudden now you seem like Mane's on coming onto form as well. Is it down to Jota? Because obviously he drags players away, gives that space for Mane to run in through. Is it down to just Jota, or is there obviously there's more to it?
I think as a goal scorer, let's be honest, our front three are goal scorers, right? They are your 15, 20 man, 15, 20, you know, Salah's going 20 goals season, plus Mane's been doing it for a couple of seasons. Jota has come and fitted in, and the amount of chances Liverpool create, a good clinical finisher will score you 20 goals, you know, the way they play up front, you know. And I think they thrive on goals. Jota brings a little bit a different dimensions to Liverpool, because he is, you know, for a player that when we bought him, I didn't know how rapid he was. He's very, very quick, and at the same time, he plays the Klopp system. He does press. You know, in the first 15, 20 minutes, I could see him chasing that ball down. Where if it was Firmino, yes, he would chase, but not wonderful sprints. I think I'll be honest with you. Confident. I go back to confidence. Any other day, when Mane has confidence, Salah has confidence, they will blow teams away. The Liverpool team as a whole, back to front, there's low in confidence. And Jota is like a new signing, And Jota, we all said it. When Jota comes back, we might get some goals. And he's come back and he's scored. And I think it's great news for Liverpool. And I think hopefully he carries on and hopefully he takes that form on. Because when he got injured, he was in form, and he's come back and he played well against Leipzig. He was a bit unfortunate to get a goal. He missed an open goal. And today he's got his goal. So confidence would be high for him to come back in the next game.
I think Jota's made all the difference, and the main thing is his intelligence is immense. I mean, his game intelligence, even people aren't identifying it as they should. But that whole first goal is all about Jota. Yeah, you can talk about Nat Phillips winning the header, but that's his job. Win the header against the striker. Do you get it? So he done his job. You could talk about the quick 1-2, great. But what created the whole chance was the quickness of thinking of Jota, because he's the one. So not only does he then pass it on to Mane, but he's the one who realizes that Mane is going into his position. So he straight away takes up Mane's position. So, and the quickness in which he does that is what makes it a 3v3 situation. So it's not just the fact that Jota reads the knock-on from Phillips and gives it to Mane first time. It's the intelligence of his run and the speed at which he done. And these are the little things that don't get noticed. Everyone just thinks, oh, great one-touch football. But what allowed that whole situation was his speed of thought and the fact that he recognized Mane's taking my position so quickly that I'm going to take his position. Now, that can't be underestimated because Firmino can't do that, because Firmino isn't natural as a winger. He doesn't feel comfortable as a winger. But because Jota is comfortable in all three positions, he don't have a problem rushing to that position. He doesn't have no problem with it. It's so natural. And that's why the goal, I think, is all about Jota more than anything else, is because he created it through his running, through his intelligence, speed of thought, and the fact they took the shot early on his weaker foot. All right, luck, but why not? He was positive. I mean, and he done it during the whole game. I really believe he's making Mane tick a lot because he's covering for when Mane comes in. He goes out wide, and the thing is, he's winning that ball higher up. So what happens is today you saw Mane and Salah wider a lot more than normal. They kept the pitch wide. And I think that's purely because Jota isn't going into midfield to win that ball. He's actually winning it in the 10 zone. So then what happens is that space ain't there for Mane and Jota, and Salah to run in straight away. So that's just staying out wide because of it. But then that's bringing more dynamism to the attack now. Because I think the defense is spread.
I think the dynamics of the front three with Jota is a bit more. It's got much more pace, much more power. It's much quicker than when Firmino plays. Don't get me wrong, Firmino is a fantastic player and he brings something else to Liverpool. But however, Jota coming back, yes, it's big. It's big it's like a new signing for us at the moment when we're struggling with goals. Like I said, like they're out of form and we are struggling with goals, and he brings us a different dimension. And I just hope that he stays fit and he carries on what he's doing and gets us some more goals, and hopefully we'll push up that table.
I mean, on this performance, really, because they're finally playing Fabinho in his right position, because we've been calling out in the show for 3-4 weeks. Why not play the players that's meant to play in the positions? Adu, what would you say? Is this the format they'll carry on going, because they're getting success, 2 clean sheets now? Obviously, there are some issues, but surely they'll be gaining confidence from it. And
it's not just the Fabinho, it's the Wijnaldum of Fabinho. Because if you look at today, Wijnaldum was supporting the attack more than any other, because with Jones, you're going to get him dribbling and creating stuff. But what Wijnaldum was doing is a lot of those cleared headers from the Wolves defenders, Wijnaldum was right up on the edge of the box winning it, and then suddenly you're recycling the ball again. So his reading of those clearances and second balls is excellent. So he, in the first half, he won a lot of balls high up the pitch on the edge of the box. Like, you don't see Liverpool midfield that high recently anyway. They're no man's land. So I think it's the combination of both. And I mentioned it last week, because Fabinho makes decisions with random that type, he's better at reacting to decisions that happens on the pitch. He's not proactive with it. He doesn't know what to do when he has to lead it. But when someone else leads it, then he knows how to adjust to that. And that's what we're seeing. So Liverpool definitely midfield is now, winning balls back better than they were in previous games.
I mean, that probably helps them a lot with regards to them not having to defend as much and the reliance on their defense.
The
pressure's off them.
Yeah, I mean, today I thought Trent was reined it in a lot today. He was defensively excellent, and it seemed like they gave Robertson more of a free license to attack and play more wider. And they asked, so maybe that there was a tactical thing because they're worried about Jota. But the thing was, Wolves played a different system to what everyone was expecting. They played Jota in the false nine, and then William Jose and Fingy as a front two. So they changed their system, and I thought that did cause Liverpool problems. But if you look at the whole game, whenever the front attacking three of Liverpool, they create a proper clear-cut chance. How many times in that first half did Wolves actually mess up the final ball and the guy was just free?
I mean, they got into great spaces, but the end product's not there.
Yeah, the final decision, the final decision was very poor by Wolves today, and a good team would have exploited those decisions. But at the end of the day, like I said, confidence is a big thing, and no matter what we say, Jimenez is a huge miss for Wolves. We forget that he's had a horrific injury, and there's your 15-man a goal season. Who gives near enough all the top defenders in the world a torrid time.
It's not just the goals, but it's just his sheer presence and his 100%. Intelligence.
Yeah,
he was the focal point of their attacks. So he used to make things out of nothing. A lot of times they used to clear the ball and he'd make something out of that. And now they just don't have that nous and that know-how, that intelligence to link up the play. And one of the reasons why Traore's got no goals, no assists is because Jimenez had an excellent understanding with Traore. And now you see Traore is really struggling because he's having to pick up the ball slightly deeper, go past more. With Jimenez on the pitch, Jimenez wins the ball, occupies the centre backs, creates more of a space for Traore to attack one man and beat his man and cross it, or beat his man and shoot. And now he's having to do a lot more earlier. Even today, I mean, William Jose was, not a factor in this game. And we're talking about a decent performance from Wolves, and they didn't really get anything from the other striker in the whole game.
Going into this game, I was quite confident that we're going to win this game, even with the bad form that we were in, because I know Wolves are not being great either. And looking at the firepower after the last previous game with Leipzig, where I could see that Liverpool starting to create chances, where the past 6 games they haven't created any chances, that I knew that if we get a few chances, even if we miss I was talking to one of my friends while I was watching the game, and I said, he goes, "Oh, man, he's missing chances." I said, "Don't worry, we're going to get a goal, because it's better to miss a chance by creating it and not creating it, because we haven't been creating." And recently we're starting to create, and the goals will hopefully come through. Going back on the point where Hassan, you said about Fabinho, his presence is enough for the midfield to go and do what you got to do. You have to understand that he's an elite midfielder. Don't get me wrong. He hasn't got abundance of skill. He's not pacey. He's the most fantastic player who reads the game. He keeps it simple. He wins that second ball. He wins that first ball, and he lays it and he goes. And then today you could see where Adil said regarding by Gigi in the second half, in the last maybe 15, 20 minutes, Gigi was camped outside the last 25 yards outside the Wolverhampton defense, and he was all he's doing is knocking it back forward, and it gives him the license. Gigi gets confidence. Thiago gets confidence with a player his stature, and I think slowly is coming into play. And I want to say a couple of things about Phillips. Unsung hero, amazing. He's got heart, he's got passion. We know technically again he's not a great player, but he does the things very, very simple. There was a clearance in the second half. I think Adama Traore crossed the ball in, and he stuck his leg out. And he, those kind of decision making make it so key.
I mean, that's what I was going to ask. How much credit does that backline also deserve, as well as Fabinho has been or Gigi has been? How much credit does that backline deserve? Because they're still having to do stuff, and like you said, made that last stage tackle. They do deserve some credit. In terms of, they kept 2 clean sheets.
100%.
I think now Phillips is a throwback. He's an old school defender. And you have to love a guy who just wants to get into tackles, smash people, get dirty. I mean, for me, I love defenders like that. And he's an old school defender who just loves tackling. If he's not getting the man, he's getting, if he's not getting the ball, he's taking out the man. He's so committed in everything he does. And we've said it before, in the air, he's phenomenal. I mean, that one where the cross looked like it's going straight to the plane, coming in on the back, and he just about got a head on it, and the excellent slide clearance from Jota's cross in the second half. If he wasn't there, I mean, both times that was a clean shot for Wolves player. So he's definitely improving. And I still worry about Kabak. I still feel he's a very reactive defender, sweeps a lot, and I felt that's where Wolves really lost the game. They did not create the right matchups, because they put Traore on Kabak, and they put their actual striker, William Jose, on Nat Phillips. And that's where it's these little things that make the difference in a game where, chances are few. Because I really do think if William Jose was on Kabak, because all the chances of coming on Kabak's side, because he sweeps so much, he doesn't actually engage and tackle. So what's happening is he's letting you have a chance. So if you look at Semedo, had a chance, cut in, beat him, missed with his left foot shot. All the chances are coming because Kabak ain't actually defending. He's just sweeping and shielding. And the way Nat Phillips plays, it would have been interesting to see the battle between Nat Phillips and Traore, because Nat Phillips is going to dive in, and Traore is going to look to turn him. So I just felt the matchups Wolves done were the wrong matchups, and they could have been a bit more clever in that if they wanted to get something out of the game.
And since you mentioned about Wolves, where are they going? Because obviously it seems like they're struggling to score. The confidence form is really low. Where do they go from here? Because obviously without Jimenez, it seems like there is no hope for them.
I think that's what it is they've lost their most important player and their second most important player, because they've lost Jota as well as Jimenez. So they've lost their front two that has carried them the last few seasons. So that can't be underestimated. I mean, between the both of them, that's 25 goals in the team gone at least, and countless assists as well. So I mean, you're looking at the performance, you're not going to be alarmed by Wolves. They played well tactically. What they tried doing was very good. I mean, Jota was trying to off the ball man mark Fabinho out of the game. So that's why when Liverpool on the ball, you hardly ever Fabinho. Sorry?
Did you mean Traore?
No, Jota man marked. So he played in the 10. So what they did was they played Jota man marking Fabinho. So that's why Fabinho never was a factor in dictating the game today. The whole game, Jota was man marking him. Not Jota, sorry.
That's
sorry, I don't mean Jota. I mean Neto. Sorry,
Neto. Okay.
Neto was man marking Fabinho the whole game, playing in the 10. So there's a lot of things they're doing that is clever, is right, and they did create chances in their system. Pushing Johnny and Semedo so high up, it caused Liverpool problems. So I think a lot of thingy, even I think it worked on the Salah side, but it didn't work on the thingy where they switched Sayers and Bowley. So they played a right-sided, right-footed centre back on Salah's side because he likes to cut in, and a left-footed centre back on Mane's side because Mane likes to cut in. The difference was Mane was going outside of Saiz a lot at the beginning of the game, and that's what was causing Saiz problems. But he was, they're doing things trying to get the best out of that team, but ultimately they haven't got a cutting edge other than Neto. With Trier is so much off form, who is going to get their goals? I mean, William Jose was not a factor today.
I think what's going to happen with Wolves is we know Wolves going to be in the Premier League next season, and I think they established themselves, and they've got some great youth players coming through the ranks too. And I think next season, I think they will most likely invest in another striker because they need another striker, and I think they'll invest, and they'll pick up some gems. And we all know Wolves have picked up some gems in the past, and some of these players, are they going to stay at Wolverhampton for a long time? You got Neto. Neto is a great player. I don't know where Podence has been. Is Podence injured?
He's injured.
Yeah, Podence. He's another miss. Start of the season he was on fire. So I think overall, Wolves, yes, they're having a blip, but overall, there's positives. At the same time, there's negative. But I think with the players they're missing, I think it's cost them this year. And I think they will regroup and they'll come better next year.
I think Ruben Neves was poor today. I mean, that's probably the worst I've ever seen him play. His passing was terrible today. I mean, he kept kicking the ball out of play. He couldn't find a player today. And I think that affected them a lot. I mean, Moutinho played excellent, I thought. He was one of the best players on the pitch. But he had too much to do. He didn't get enough support from Ruben Neves today.
See, Ruben Neves, again, he's not been on form, Ruben Neves from last season or start of the season you would get an assist every 2-3 games. If it's not even getting an assist.
I mean, they've been chopping and changing quite a bit in the middle. So.
He's not been scoring, and sometimes you keep faith in players and sometimes you just need to make that change. But don't get me wrong, he's a very good player, and like every team has injuries and every team has problems. And sometimes when you have key players out like that, you end up struggling. We've struggled. Wolves are struggling, and but it'll get better for them, and it'll get better for Liverpool hopefully too.
Everything with Wolves depends on recruitment in the summer. How good their recruitment is, because they were with unproven young stars this last summer, and it's backfired because those players just aren't ready. Like Ait Nouri and Fabio Silva, they're just not ready. But previously, before that, they brought young players, but they were established players at the clubs they brought them from. So Neto was already a regular. Podence was playing every game for Olympiacos. They were off that and kind of were even more young. They went to young players who aren't playing regularly for clubs. I think that was a mistake that they've made because they need to go back to getting
jump. It's a big jump for a youngster. It's a big jump for a youngster coming from the Portuguese league to the Premier League.
Well, it wasn't planned, was it? Because of the unfortunate injury to Jimenez. So I could understand it, but those risks are now, looking like unnecessary risks when you're a team who, are relying on your first team players, and if they go out, you haven't got enough depth then to challenge and to make a difference. But I think Wolves are fine. They're doing good. They're playing well. Yeah, they're going to still pick up points.
Yeah, 100%. They'll still pick up points, and we haven't got far long to say. But Wolves eventually, let's be honest. We know that Wolves not going to sit next season like this. They're going to obviously invest, and sometimes certain things you take
the company that owns them has suffered like one of the biggest since the lockdown in terms of losses. So we don't know what the financial implications are for the owners of Wolves, but financially, there's rumors that they might be willing to sell Wolves. So we don't know whether that money is there in the summer. But I think it is an interesting time for Wolves, and next year, depending on what they do in the summer, could determine whether they stay in the league or not. It'll be quite difficult if they don't recruit well.
Thank you, guys. Positive result for Liverpool. Good things to kind of look forward to, really. Thank you both for coming to the show. And guys, do keep an eye out for the other shows that are coming out throughout the week. We'll hopefully be doing the Champions League reviews and next weekend's Premier League games as well. So thank you both, and as always,
and
guys,
the FA Cup.
And the FA Cup, yeah, sorry. And do like, subscribe, and share. Thank you guys for being on the show.
No problem, thanks.